Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Podcast Demastered. I'm your host, Ethan Meyer, and I'm joined, as always, by my two very good friends, Wade and Chelsea. And welcome to episode 38 of the show. We're going to kind of go back to a little bit more casual approach with this episode. We're just going to have a, very nice chat about sequels or reboots or remakes or remasters that each of us would like to see happen from across any medium that we can think of, from films or games or TV shows or anything that we want to see a sequel of or think ended too soon we'd like to see more of, or you get the drift. It's one of those episodes. So are you guys ready to jump right into it, I guess?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
All right. Wade, you answered first, so you get to go first.
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
Gotcha.
So when I started thinking about this, I was like, God, I don't know what to do. And then I came up with one answer, and everything just went whoosh.
Yeah, open the floodgates.
It opened the floodgates, and I was like, oh no. So I have a good list, but I'll keep it simple. And I'll pick the one I really want the most. I'm looking at that. So I'm going to go with the show first. Did you all ever watch, have you ever seen The Dark Crystal?
Yes.
On Netflix?
No.
Yes.
Okay. So the first season of the show came out, and it was amazing, and it won an Emmy or something. And then Netflix canceled it, right after that.
Yeah.
They had a second season planned, and then they said, you get no money. Bye.
And it's pretty typical for Netflix. If a show doesn't hit what they think, what their expectations are for whatever their target audience, or the numbers, or their nebulous system for viewership and everything, whatever doesn't hit that automatically gets pulled. That's what Netflix is known for.
It's a damn shame.
They greenlight everything, and then they
pull the plug on most of it.
They drop the guillotine on 90% of everything they make. So, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, it was so good, and they wouldn't have even had to spend as much money for the next season because they have all these puppets and scenery and stuff already made. It's just it's so unfortunate.
That was the best thing about it too, is that they actually kept to the practicals instead of they easily could have just been oh, let's just do it CG. We got the, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But the fact that it was all just still built sets and puppets and miniatures and all this other stuff, that made it all the more charming.
It was like watching the old movie all over again.
Yeah, it was an extension of the film, or I guess it was a prequel actually. But
it's a prequel, but
but still,
not important.
Yeah.
But if they could pick that back up at some point, that'd be cool. I hope they do.
It definitely had has a niche, a niche audience. Mm-hmm. So, which is what it's not what Netflix is looking for. They want that gangbusters, Stranger Things kind of show or whatever. We want everyone to talk about this. And if everyone's not talking about it, if it's not trending on Twitter the next day, then it's canceled.
It's worthless. Fools,
so
all
sad.
of them.
Yeah. Chelsea, do you have a show, a TV show, or do you have something different?
I have something different. I had thought about some TV shows and stuff, but what was hard for me about thinking of TV shows is there's definitely some shows that I would have liked to see continue, but it's been so many years since then, and I either have almost kind of forgotten about it, it's lost its hype for me, so
right.
My first one is a movie.
Okay.
And that movie is actually, based off of a book, part of a book series. This movie needs to be redone. That movie, Aragon.
Yeah. And also, yes, absolutely.
Yes,
atrocious.
It was such a and a missed opportunity. It really could have been an epic like story. It could have really shown such a unique world, unique characters, actually had like fun and action and everything a movie should have.
Yeah. I have not read the book series or seen the film. Like, I literally don't know anything about it besides that fans don't like it. The movie, that is. So
the movie is not for people who read the books.
Yeah.
At all.
It's barely even for people, and it's not even for people who like movies either, to be honest. Let's be real.
It's for like literal children, like under the age of 10, who don't know anything about anything, you know?
Is it bad just because it's not made well, or is it just like a really bad adaptation? Like, does it change a lot? Like, walk me through what's so...
it's everything.
Every bullet point that can be wrong with something.
Basically.
Yeah.
They which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, and like when the movie was made, it at least the second book was already out. At least the second book, and the author was working with them on the movie too. But like they go through the movie and they mess up like really crucial like plot details, or like it's okay, that person can just die, it's fine, and it's like they're what like they're crucial to the end of the whole story. Like, what are you doing? And everybody was just fine with it. So
yeah, and it doesn't make any sense because you know there's some things where of course you can always say there's a difference, between reading a book and watching a movie, and some things may or may not work. But when there are these crucial elements that clearly can be made to work in a film, and they decide to just do their own thing, it's just what kind of story are we telling here? What is there even a story in that movie? Let's be real, I don't even know.
No, not really.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say it got approved tomorrow to be turned into a film. Chelsea, if you had to pick a director to do it, who would it be? Just off the top of your head.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
Sam Raimi.
Sure, why not?
I need some like dark, mature horror Aragon.
Ooh. Yes.
I'd love it. I'd eat it up.
I'm cool with that. Just a competent director or something. I mean, honestly, I don't even know who directed it, so...
Yeah, well, usually films like that are mediocre to bad, no one really ever pays attention to, like, the crew. You have to be, like, really awfully bad to get, like, notice, like, your Tommy Wiseau's and shit. Otherwise, you're just, like, a nobody. Like, you're known for being awful or you're known for being great. You're not known for being mediocre.
The director is Stephen Fangmeyer.
Yeah.
That was the only thing he ever directed.
Yeah, I've never once heard that name ever in my life. Yeah. So, that sounds made up. That sounds like a Dragon Age character.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd like to see a reboot of that and actually a fully fledged,
Would you rather see it as a film or like a prestige television?
Film. I don't think it needs to be a long,
there's not
drawn
that
out
much
TV
to
show.
fit into it, really.
Yeah.
The books do that enough. We don't.
How many books are there? Is there just 3? 4 books?
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were supposed to be 3, but then like the last one was gonna be like huge Mongo.
Yeah.
So he like cut it in half. He's like, here you go. Here's the 3rd one. Which was fine, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a lot in the 4th one, but the book really ends like halfway through the 4th book.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is like an epilogue. But it's like a long ass epilogue, and it's a waste of time. And it pissed me off a lot. Like, you wasted everything.
Sounds like there's some heat with this series in general.
It was so good, and then the ending, like, well, even the ending was fine. It was just
the bonus ending. The bonus
ending, like where they're talking about like, well, here's what's happening in the country, and here's where the characters are at, and the state of magic and dragons, and it's like everything was awful. You went in the wrong direction with everything. What are you doing?
Sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
Except when everything is less.
Yeah.
I feel like it's got to be hard to have that mentality as an author. The less is more.
Yeah, he was a baby too, so
Yeah.
he was really young when he started writing the books. Like,
Yeah.
still in high school, like early high school.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember. Yeah, he was very young.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
It was
And
crazy.
the books didn't take that long for him to release. Like, he wrote 4 books in the state of not a very long time.
Do you know who owns the rights? Does anyone own the rights to Aragon? Like any studio?
Somebody recently bought them, I think.
Was it Netflix?
Gosh.
Well,
It was
if
Amazon.
it was
No, just kidding.
if
Oh,
it was
God.
oh, it's Disney.
Oh, Disney
Oh.
owns the rights to Aragon? So
And the
there'll be
author wants them to remake it.
so there'll be a Disney Plus show in like 2 years.
That's
Yeah,
well, as long
which
as they
we-
don't. Go ahead.
No, it just reminds me of, another, series that Disney, had bought the rights to having the
Oh.
movie released. And this wasn't on my list, my main list, but I will bring it up because
Is it
but I
Fartimus
will
Owl?
say, yes, and I will be honest, I never watched the movie because I heard so many
don't
terrible
watch the
things about
movie.
that. That was my childhood dream, that series
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
movies. I was always like, I
Same.
cannot wait to see a movie of this. And then,
You can watch the movie if you don't really have a lot of expectations, because everything is fine. Like, everything is fine in it, except
The
God,
look of it.
the guy who plays the dwarf. I can't remember.
All I know,
The guy who plays Olaf. Josh Gad or whatever his name is. He plays the dwarf, and he's like far too happy-go-lucky for that role. And then
apparently
the kid,
I missed he was even in that movie. Now I'm really concerned.
yeah, he's like
Oh,
in it a
no.
lot.
Oh,
And then the
no.
kid who plays, or like how they portray Artemis. Because you know how in the books Artemis is like, he's not the hero.
No.
He's a supervillain. He's
Yes.
like a Batman level supervillain, but he's like 8 or 12 or whatever he is. In the movie, like, they kind of start, they're like, yeah, like, oh, he's so like amazing, but so like devilish. But then he's like, the whole movie though, he's portrayed as like just your typical
person.
do-gooder kid.
yeah.
And it's like, no, he's a
your
dick.
your typical Disney Channel protagonist.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
that just pains me. No,
Yeah.
that does not sell me on wanting to watch this movie. I will just
That
continue
trailer
to
didn't
forget the
sell
movie
me.
exists.
It looks
Yeah.
awful.
That was
It looks-
trailer-
so sad.
The trailer is one of those situations where it was like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me here, and it didn't really represent the movie.
like
Regardless.
visually it looked like like fan fiction for Spy Kids. Like it was awful.
Well, yeah. That's
I was
kind of
like,
what
oh,
Artemis
no,
Fowl is,
this,
in a weird
this
way.
isn't for me.
Add magic and cool bad guys.
Just add magic to the Spy
Guess
Kids
I would never
universe.
say that, but
Yeah, I mean, it's like, if only because
the
he brought
Spy
it up.
Kids, those are fun.
They
but
are fun movies. I love Spy Kids. We should do more Spy Kids movies. That should be on somebody's list.
Well, it's not. It's
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Not
don't think
on
it's on
mine.
Ethan's, but
Like
no.
spy 30-year-olds now.
Well, Ethan, what's on your list?
She's done. She's done with that conversation.
there's the curtain puller at best. Right
Yep.
there. Well, moving on.
Anyway,
So this is actually kind of worked out. Wade started with a TV show, Chelsea did a film, and I have a video game. Actually, when we came up with this like topic for the show, I immediately thought of like 3 games right off the top that I've always wanted more of, and they all happen to be Sony first party. So it'll never happen probably.
yikes! Already, yikes! Uh-oh.
So I'll
no.
just start with one because it actually just got one game and then it didn't do super hot, like commercially, and it kind of just got swept under the rug. And now that studio that made it is like relegated to like a VR studio now. Like they don't even like make normal games anymore.
Oh, they really got the boot then.
Yeah. They also were making like Vita titles. So
Oh,
anyways,
R.I.P.
The Order 1886.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That didn't do well.
I've always wanted to play
No.
that.
Oh,
It didn't do. It didn't do well commercially, and it got middling to good reviews. You know, your typical like sevens. You know, one of those things. Because for the most part, it's like, it's a pretty linear game. You kind of just think like an Uncharted. You're kind of just moving from area to area, doing the thing. You know, it's not like a lot of exploration or.
It's
or
pretty
anything like that.
linear. Just moving.
Yeah, it's
forward.
a linear, like, sort of a, you know, like a Gears of War, I guess. It's a third person cover shooter. So it didn't like set the world on fire from a gameplay standpoint, because it was just like, oh yeah, cool, we've done this for ever. There's nothing really new. The thing that was really cool that I liked was just the world and the lore and like the universe it was, because it you know, it takes place in 1886, but it's like this sort of like kind of steampunkish kind of vibes. And you're playing as like you're playing like these I guess Victorian era Knights of the Round Table, basically. And their enemy are the like these lichens, basically, like these werewolves. The game also was like a stunner when it came out. It looked amazing. It looked fucking gorgeous. It was like I want to say it wasn't a launch game, but it was pretty close to a PS4 launch. I don't think it was like an actual launch game, but even to this day, it looks awesome. Like it looks more like a film. Like just watching, like it's like a CG film. Like the cutscenes are just amazing, and then the cutscenes transition into gameplay. Like, you know, this is like 8 years ago. You know, like that wasn't like a thing really, even at that time. Like now it's just like, oh yeah, that's expected. Like that's kind of what we want. But when this came out, that was like jaw dropping. You know, like seeing a cutscene and then immediately like your cursor comes up and you're in the game. People are like, what the fuck? This is awesome. But yeah, like I said, like I feel like the studio being as small as it's also not a super long game. I think I beat it in like 8 hours. It's also pretty easy platinum, Chelsea. If if you wanna take a swing at it, I know you're a platinum hunter. But yeah, I just think.
Oh well, that's going a little too far on that. But yeah, no, definitely on my list to play.
I mean, you have like what, like 9 now? That's pretty good.
I think it's 11, but yeah.
Oh yeah, see, sorry, 11, double digits. We're in the double digits now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
probably more than
I think
Ethan
like
and I have together.
Oh yeah, I think I have like 2, and one of them was a Telltale game, so it doesn't even count because you get a platinum for just finishing it.
Yeah.
So
It's still a platinum though.
yeah, that's like. I feel like that's like a mistake. You know, it's just like, oh, you beat the game. Here's a platinum. But anyways, I think an Order 1887 would be pretty awesome. Like I said, the studio Ready at Dawn doesn't really function anymore as like a straight up game dev for like those kind of games, but it's still a first party PlayStation IP. And I think if they gave it to like, you know, Sony Santa Monica or somebody, or like Naughty Dog, that can handle these like third person games, like I think they could really pump some juice into it and really expand the universe. And like, because like that was like the most intriguing part of it, is just like being these like Victorian knights and you're fighting like these like gothic, like the temptation of like being able to be like, oh, if this is like a series, like we're fighting lichens now, maybe the sequel will be like vampires or some shit. We're gonna be dealing with like all these different like, you know, gothic monsters, and it just never like, we never got any of that because they pulled the plug. So but I think that it has a lot of concepts in there that could really be like enhanced. It could make like a really cool, another, you know, AAA third person action game, I guess. But you know, Sony's got a dime a dozen of those, but here's another one, you know, make it happen. Like,
Sounds good.
It would be really cool. But yeah, if you haven't played it, it's got to be cheap as shit. They're probably giving that thing away at this point. I'm sure it's been a plus game at some point. I remember I bought it when it like came out. I don't think I pre-ordered it, but I paid full amount. But yeah, it's cool. But it's not, it's not gonna blow the doors off anybody in terms of like what you're actually doing. It's more just like the world you're in that's cool, I guess. So maybe, I don't know, maybe make it into a TV series.
like cool. Witcher. Do it like Witcher.
Yeah, but not live action. It'd be fine.
I was gonna say animated, right? Yeah.
You could just do animated. That's fine. I don't need a live action. I don't need.
Henry Cavill can be in that too. It's fine.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that. I like Henry Cavill.
He'll be game for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he's a fucking nerd. He'd do it. Put him in a Warcraft sequel. He'd love that.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. All right, Wade. Back to you. What do you got?
Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna go with a video game. Man, there's just so many to choose from. So I'm gonna go with a remake, we'll call it, of Final Fantasy IX, because it's my favorite. I feel it's the best like fantasy Final Fantasy, and they wouldn't have to do like a ton of like reconfiguring with it. Just find like an art style that like a current gen art style that works for it. Like it doesn't have to be hyper realistic like Final Fantasy VII, because it doesn't have the same like. It's not like a realistic kind of game, like body proportions and like not everybody's human and stuff like that. So they don't have to work that hard. It can be like a cartoony like, just artsy game. But I feel like that would be it.
You know what would be a cool style for Final Fantasy IX from like an aesthetic standpoint is do it like Octopath Traveler. Like that would look cool.
Yeah, but I want like a pretty one. I want like a high def pretty one, not like a pixelated one.
Oh, so you want like a PS2 game?
No, lame. You don't understand me at all.
How about like so how about like a Final Fantasy 12 look?
No, because that was still realistic. That was still like a realistic art style that they used. I don't know. Like it would
how about Ni no Kuni? That's cartoony.
Yeah, I mean something
polished.
like that. Something that's like more animated, not realistic.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, we want it to look good.
Whoa, okay.
Hey there.
Sorry, I gotta get my Kingdom Hearts digs while I can.
Yeah, I mean that would work, but Kingdom Hearts is weird because they're like, we're gonna go with realistic, but like
not.
with like a little like tint over it. But I don't know. But I think a remake for 9 would be terrific. It's probably an inevitability, but we'll see.
I see people talking about it all the time. Every time Square Enix does like one of those pixel remasters, and then like 9's never like brought up. It's like why do you guys always?
The pixel remasters they only go up to 6 because that was the last like pixelated game. And then 7, 8, and 9 they all got like the remastered, like the prettier backgrounds and sharper characters and stuff like that. But I need like 7 did with a remake. They need to remake that just with a different art style.
With a cartoony art style.
I think it'd work better for the setting. Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah. Nice. Because it wouldn't take away, because it's like a dark story, but like you can still like have a dark story and have things look more fantastical,
Oh yeah. It doesn't need to look like Uncharted.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, but that's if I had to pick a Final Fantasy game, it would be that one for sure.
Yeah, 9's good.
It'll probably skip over 8, so 9 would be fine.
Most likely. All right, Chelsea.
All right. I also have a video game. This video game apparently did come out on a couple systems, but I only replayed it on the PSP. I thought it was a pretty great game.
Ooh.
Shadow of Destiny.
Oh, lost me.
Yes. Okay, I wasn't sure. I honestly don't know if that many people are familiar with this game. It was a really interesting story. It was definitely heavy in the story. It's basically takes place in this like little German town, and like you're the main character, and it starts off where you immediately get murdered. And so you're basically like you time travel like with the help of a genie of some sort, and you try to like figure out who's trying to kill you, and you're trying to figure out like why you're traveling back to these certain particular times. And it's a really cool twist, and it's a really unique story, and I could really see that, you know, definitely remastered with all the graphic capabilities now and on a current gen system would be really cool, just to have that game shown to other people, because I played, yeah, like I said, I played that game on the PSP, and by then it was technically actually I think almost a remaster, because I think it came out on the PS2 in like 2001.
Huh.
Who was the who was the developer? Do you know?
Oh, let me find that.
Also, while you're looking that up, that
Konami?
game's oh shit, yeah, that'll never happen then.
Oh, poor
that thing's
Konami.
probably a pachinko machine by now.
Ah, you beat me to it. Damn it.
Oh.
They're gonna have like a
One can
mobile
always
like
dream.
bubble
Yeah.
like bubble blaster with like characters from that game in it. It's like all fucking Konami is anymore. No, when you were talking about that game, like the title does not ring any bells to me, but like the description of the game reminds me of that murdered Soul Suspect in a lot of ways.
Yeah, which is a pretty cool game too. It also has a different name. Technically, Shadow of Destiny is the like American version, but it's also like it's just called Shadow of Memories. So, but it's
That's way cooler. Shadow of Destiny sounds like a name from like a word generator.
instead of Shadow of Memories.
Shadow of Memories. Shadow of Memories actually sounds like a Kingdom Hearts game.
I know.
Chain of Memories.
Yeah,
sounds
Chain of
better, I
Memories.
think.
It's like Kingdom Hearts 42 Shadows of 17 Memories. That'd be the title. Something. Throw a fraction in there.
Probably be
and-
Shattered Memories.
Yeah, shattered half memories. I don't know. Whatever. Naming convention.
Yeah, it is definitely a very cool game, and it was also a game I'd love to play again, because
Do you still own a PSP?
no, unfortunately I don't.
Wade, you
You
do?
borrow mine. I do.
Well, maybe you should
Yeah.
try to find this game. It's pretty cool.
Well, I'd have to. Is it physical? Is it a physical game?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good, because
That's
they
why-
shut down the PSP store.
Yeah.
They chopped that sucker off. They said nope.
They're also getting ready to shut down the 3DS and the Wii U. Not to get into the news, but those shops are going away.
We got till August,
Yep. So,
but
yep.
Games of the past. That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird though. I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but like thinking about 3DS games, like usually when stores are shut down for older systems, those games are later emulated. Thinking of like 3DS games, like a lot of those you're not going to be able to emulate in the true 3DS fashion, because you're not going to have a handheld with the capabilities of not only like dual screens but the 3D gimmick. I guess I don't want to say gimmick, it makes it sound like it's bad, but a lot of those games utilize of those games used
you don't need the 3D at all.
No,
They're
but I
not
mean
part
like
of the gameplay, so
no, but it's like you're not going to get like your true experience, I guess.
Experience,
like you're going to lose a little bit of your
yeah, but again, most people played with the 3D off on all of the games. Like, I'm saying this from experience. Most people did not play with the 3D on. Maybe
Right,
if there's
I'm
like
just-
a big game, they're like, "Oh, I'll try it out," and a half hour in, they're like, "And I'm done with that."
yeah.
They just turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for the hundreds of millions of 3DS players, but in terms of gaming preservation, like that's a very shitty thing to have happen.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty garbage.
Definitely.
So just in terms of like, you know, when a PSP game, when that store shuts down, like those games are emulated, you can play them on computers and, you know, Raspberry Pis and all this other shit. Like it's fine, but like some of these systems that they're more unique on a hardware side, like it's going to be hard to preserve those for the future. So especially like digital only games that were, you know, like people are already releasing lists of games that will be lost forever because they don't have physical versions. So it's just sad. It's sad to see that shit. But
Man, like if Nintendo would just like get its damn act together and compile all of those consoles worth of video games into like a new virtual console software, like I don't know like what you'd call that, so that is always available on like all of their consoles going forward. Like they would, like, you know how much profit that project alone would make for them?
Having like a Nintendo Pass. Or it's just
seriously like
no, yeah. No, I'm also like, I know it's not nothing, but and you'll never see a company do the logistics on this or the financial side of it, but I just wonder what it actually costs these companies to keep these storefronts operational from like a bottom line.
Well, probably
you know what
a
I mean?
lot, because that's a lot of like server space and junk and whatnot, you know.
Right, but I mean, like nowadays, like some of this, like file storage for you know, some of this stuff is, I don't know. Like I said, I know it's not nothing, but these are also like billion-dollar companies. So I don't know. I would love to see like some like insider like actually put out the. But there's so much shit that goes into it too, because you got your IT that has to manage it, you got security that has to you know, you're like, there's so many different. It'd be really hard to like figure out an actual cost.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes it's like server rental. Like I don't think Nintendo like owns its servers. Like a lot of Japanese companies, they don't tend, like the big companies, they don't tend to own their own servers because Japan's not very big. So I'm pretty sure they actually rent theirs from Amazon. Like not everybody's like Microsoft and like creates its own business, like creates its own servers, you know. So they, like huge companies, they have to rent server space even at a huge corporate level, and I'm pretty sure Nintendo does that. I don't imagine Sony does that because they're a little more on the technological side, but I don't know for sure. But Microsoft doesn't.
Yeah, Microsoft doesn't worry about
just
that.
Make their own.
They just build another server farm. Like, yeah, we good.
Right.
We good. So, but yeah, it's, I don't know. That stuff's interesting and also depressing. And it's on the same side. So
for sure.
Back to handhelds though. I have only owned one gaming handheld. You guys want to guess what it was?
Is it your Switch?
I don't consider that because I consider that a console because I pretty much only play it docked.
It's a Vita. It's a Vita.
Game Boy. Oh.
It's the Vita.
I remember. I remember. It's a Vita. Yep. Funnily enough, that's the only one that I never owned.
Yep. I got sold on the commercialization of that product, with it being like all the next gen mobile gaming and whatnot, and the, you know, the touch screen and the back touchpad and the super graphics. You know, I got sold big time on that shit. And there was like 3 cool games, and then they're like, yeah, we done with this.
Yeah.
And also memory cost as much as like the console.
Oh my god. The PSP and the Vita are so obnoxious because their memory sticks were customized specifically for them. Like, thank God these days everybody just uses micro SD, so it's fine. But those systems did not.
Yeah, and that was a huge fucking mistake on Sony making memory proprietary, because that killed the console.
Like, because you had to find it first off.
You had to find it, and it was so fucking Amazon. Overpriced.
Yes. It's like, do I want to buy two new games or some new space? Yeah,
and the games are already the cost the same as a full release PS3 game or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they were like $60 games, and then you'd have to spend another 70 to 100 on a memory stick, depending on the size. And it's just like, Jesus Christ.
Kingdom Hearts
like,
Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, this is ridiculous.
I had to go buy a completely new memory stick for Birth by Sleep, and only Birth by Sleep. I had both two Final Fantasy Dissidia games, and Final Fantasy VII. A Crisis Core.
Yes.
And like
I love that
every
game.
other PSP game I owned, all on one memory stick.
Yeah.
And then Birth by Sleep had its own separate deal.
Yeah,
I was so ticked.
I had to have
I guess
a memory
it wasn't
stick
too bad for
for
me.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I guess it wasn't too bad for me because I also owned Sony cameras, which also use the same memory.
Oh, yeah.
So I would just, when I was not using my camera, I would just use it for the games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I
makes
also
sense.
had multiple for my camera in general. So
Yeah,
Lucky.
yeah. I remember I had like the Uncharted Golden Abyss, and that was like a huge game. So that took up like the entire, just like mostly of just like the base memory on the console, on the Vita itself. And then I had to have a memory stick for all my Metal Gear games. I was like, this sucks.
Oh, did the Vita have like built-in memory already?
Yeah, but it wasn't much. It was like
the PSP didn't have any.
Yeah, the Vita had like, I mean, at the time it was probably like 512 or something small. You know what I mean? Like something,
Yeah.
or like a gig or
Well,
some shit.
again, better than PSP that had 0.
But also the Vita was like, it was a beefy like handheld for its time. You know, like that was a pretty, and it was dense. Like, man, that thing was like a brick. So you couldn't play it for very long.
I remember the day that came out, and one of my classmates came to high school with it, and like they had it in the nice little case, with all the nice little peripheral stuff, and like he would like play it for 5 minutes and put it down and take his little cloth and like clean his fingerprints. I'm like, okay, that's ridiculous. And he'd be look how good this game looks, like on my Vita, like this is amazing. And I would like lean over and be like, yeah, I have that on my PS2 and it looks the same.
Yep.
And he'd be like, well, but this is different. And I'm like, well, I don't know.
That was like one of the cool. That was one of the cool features.
handheld, yeah.
That was one of the cool features of the Vita at its time, was that you could play your console games on it. It had like like early like variations of like their share play. Like if you had
You have to like still like plug it in.
if you had
PlayStation.
if you had a Wi-Fi signal that was strong enough or whatever, you could do it that way. You could cast it or whatever. But also, it's like, who the fuck's just sitting on their couch playing their Vita when like their console's right in front of you and you could just play it on the console? You know what I mean? Like,
I feel the same way about playing. Like right now, you could play your PS4, PS5 games on your phone.
yeah.
You know, I feel the same way. I'm like, why am I going to attempt to play Kingdom Hearts 3 on my phone when I'm here in my house sharing the same Wi-Fi? I could just play it on my console. That's right here.
Like, I guess it makes sense. I guess it makes sense if you have like kids and they're like, all right, the kids have the TV, they're watching, the Wiggles, but I want to play Kingdom Hearts, so I guess I'll play it on my phone. Like, I guess that's the situation. But anyways, mobile consoles, it's a dying breed. I would say.
That's fair.
So, I think the Switch is probably the last mobile variant gaming periphery we will get. Unless you count VR, which I don't, because
well,
I think VR is still so niche. So
it is. I had some kids the other day asking if they should spend like $400 on their PlayStation VR or whatever because they wanted to play because they wanted to do the VR chat thing.
Oh God!
I'm like
you
want
VR chat rooms?
You want to spend $400 so you can VR chat?
With
your friends that you come to school to talk to.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah. I'm like, you could go buy a Switch and a game, 2 games probably.
Why don't you guys just FaceTime each other and tape your phones to your head?
Like, for real. And they're like, but you don't get it. It's VR. I'm like, I've played VR. It made me vomit. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I can't do VR because I have like a really weak like equilibrium, I guess.
All those 3D rides.
Yeah, dude, like VR VR screws me up. I remember this was like, oh my god, this is back before the very first like Oculus came out, when they were just sending out dev kits. My cousin had one because he worked for like a magazine, like a tech magazine. So he got a dev kit for it, and he modded Skyrim for this like headset, and I put it on, and I was just like walking around playing Skyrim in VR, and I like wanted to vomit. It fucked me up so much. Like, and ever since then I was like, nah, I'm not doing VR. Like, I can't even walk down a road without getting sick. So, but yeah,
Nope.
not for me. Plus the cost of entry for that thing it's so expensive for those things. For VR, it's just, yeah, it's not worth it. And then I know it's not such a big deal now, but it used to be like you had to have like basically a dedicated room for all the cameras and this and that, and like they've changed a lot of that, but still, like, that's why a lot of people don't get into VR. Fuck,
Where do we leave off?
Yeah, where are we at? Shadows of Memories, right?
Yeah. It was on to you, yes.
Oh, it's on to me. Oh, okay.
Pretty sure, yeah.
All right, so I got two more games. I'm just gonna bundle them together because basically the same thing. So they're both first-person shooters, and they're both Sony first-party. One is Resistance. It was developed by Insomniac in the PS3 era, and the other is Killzone, which was Guerrilla Games in the PS2 and PS3, and I guess PS4 era. That's what they did before they did Horizon. I really liked both of those as shooters, especially Killzone, because I thought it was different than all the other shooters on the market at the time, because it was like sci-fi. It was kind of like a mixture of like sci-fi, but also like boots on the ground Call of Duty kind of stuff, and Battlefield with these huge like sprawling like things going on. And it was a graphics powerhouse. Like, it's Guerrilla, so you've seen like what Horizon games look like. Imagine that kind of talent making like shooters. Like, those games were gorgeous, even on like the PS3 and even the PS2. They had really good multiplayer. Just amazing games. And then when they did Killzone, it's called Shadowfall for PS4, they completely changed like the whole tone of the game and made it more like stealth focused and like one-man army kind of behind enemy lines, Black Ops kind of shit, which is completely the opposite of what Killzone is. And like no one liked it, and it just tanked, and they're like, all right, well, we're done with you guys, we're gonna make Horizon Zero Dawn, so fuck y'all, like, we're done with Killzone. And that sucks, because I really like that series. The other one, Resistance, was another sci-fi shooter that took place during World War II, but instead it was during World War II, basically aliens invaded, and the whole world was like, all right, we'll stop fighting each other because we got to fight these aliens, right? So it's kind of a cool story. The best thing about it was it had that typical Insomniac flair, where they designed like a plethora of like crazy weapons to have to play around with. Like, if you think Insomniac, you got the Ratchet and Clank and all their nonsense guns, and then they did Sunset Overdrive that has a bunch of nonsense shit. Like, they're really good at like coming up with an arsenal, I guess. And Resistance really like took it up a notch with some of these like guns, and it was also one of the first games in like for the PS3, like the multiplayer, like the first game was a launch game for the PS3, and its multiplayer had like 120 player count, which is like insane for that time. Like, games don't even do that shit now still. So, because it's just too hard to manage. And like I said, both these games got a good run. There's 3 Resistance games, and then like a couple mobile or like handheld. Like, I want to say there was like a PSP Resistance game and maybe a Vita one. Same with Killzone. It had 4 games. It had a Vita game, which that was part of the reason why I bought my Vita, because I wanted Killzone Mercenaries. So, but that's something that I think Sony is missing in their portfolio is a first-party shooter that's exclusive to Sony. Because right now they just kind of feed off the multiplats and the third parties, which I guess is fine. It works for them, but I think it would be nice to have like a first-party FPS. You know, if it's not going to be Killzone or Resistance, I'd like it to be something. You know. So. But yeah, it'd be cool. I know Insomniac now is basically just a Marvel studio, so they'll probably never go back to Resistance unless they put Wolverine in it or some shit.
Oh gosh.
And then Guerrilla's got a good thing going with Horizon, so I doubt they go back to Killzone. So it's definitely a pipe dream to see either one of those revived. It definitely doesn't seem like a focus for Sony either, so it kind of sucks, but I really miss both those games. They were good, like well-rounded shooters. I know I'm the shooter guy on the podcast, so you guys are like, yeah, whatever. Why are you still talking? Like, let's move on. But yeah, it sucks. I miss them. I wish they would. I wish some, give me something. Give me something.
Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
Maybe.
All right, Wade, back to you.
Okay, trying to decide what I wanted to talk about next. I'll talk about this one. So, way back in the day, like the Game Boy Advance day, there were these Mega Man games called Mega Man Battle Network.
Yeah.
If you played Mega Man, like just a regular Mega Man game, these were not like that. They were more of a, I don't know, they had like a tactical RPG aspect in a way, but they were like constant and they were like very fast and lots of like action. Like you didn't input commands, but you had like a grid space. You had a grid space on one half to move around on, and the enemy had a grid space, and you just kind of like fought from there using like different attacks and stuff. And they made like 6 of them. Like they went on for quite a while. But I loved these games. And speaking of the Wii U shop going down, they did like 2 years ago put all of the Battle Network games out on Virtual Console on the Wii U, which was amazing. So I actually, just this weekend, I bought like 3 of them because I'm trying to like get them before, the Wii shop is gone. But like if they could do like a proper remastering, like a collection of them, like I would die. I would throw so many dollars at that because they've made so many other Mega Man collections by now. Like seriously, there's been like 5, I think. Like they've collected all the main Mega Man and Mega Man X, Mega Man Zero games. Like
now
the Battle Network games have to be coming.
Mega Man is Capcom, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Capcom is usually really good about bundling old shit and giving it back to you. Like they do it constantly with a lot of their popular IPs, so
they do. So I'm hoping and praying that someday I get that. That would be just terrific.
Also, you would think even if you don't get a bundle, even if they just made a new one, that seems like a good Switch game.
It would work terrifically on the Switch.
Yeah, like that just seems like that would be just like a solid game to have on the Switch. So
yeah.
Yeah, I never played any of the Battle Network. Like I said, I didn't own any handhelds or any of that stuff, so I missed out on so much Nintendo everything that was handheld. So, but yeah, there's at least there's like some hope there that because Capcom's one of the few publishers that definitely likes to do collections. So.
So
and Mega Man's
I think chances are good
big
someday.
enough. Yeah, Mega Man's still a big enough name where you get something out of it. Even if Battle Network's a little bit more of like a deep cut for that IP, it's still 6 games.
I mean, it had
that's a perfect collection. Like you can.
Yeah, like that's a lot.
Yeah. It had like an anime and like it had its own spin-off games and and everything else. So like I feel like the chances are pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Well, here's hoping.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we move on to Chelsea's next whatever, I say we take a break. Does that sound good with you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. we will be right back with Chelsea. All right, and we're back, and now we're gonna divulge Chelsea's whatever. So, Chelsea, please tell the listeners what that is.
Oh, my whatever. I really just want to just say in general, bring back Disney Interactive Studios.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like that old Tarzan game?
Everything.
Bugs Life,
all their
the Toy
games.
Story.
Bring back Disney games. Bring back all that good fun, all those fun, goofy, various cartoony elements. You know, one of them is,
Did
of
they
course,
do Epic
Disney
Mickey?
Infinity. I think so. Yeah.
I think Disney Infinity was probably their last hurrah, wasn't it? They entered the
At least console-wise.
yeah, they entered the physical digital world or whatever. We're like, hey, go buy the toys and put them in the game and that kind of stuff. Disney's amiibo, I guess.
Basically.
Which I'm really surprised that they didn't keep going with that. I mean, that's perfect for Disney. They love making, toys, figurines. It's all their Disney characters, and they even included Marvel and whatnot. And then you get to have video game components. It's just sad that it all went
I bet that there was
downhill.
like a huge disconnect between like software sales and manufacturing costs. You know what I mean? Like, because every one of those companies that did that all jumped ship. Like Skylanders, Lego Worlds, or Lego Universe. I think it was Lego Worlds, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many different like games out there that were doing this. Hey, buy this like game, but then also go buy the toys to put in the game, so we kind of get 2 purchases from you. And like none of those are around anymore.
They could have
Amiibos
done the
are still
cheaper route
going.
and gone.
Amiibos, but that's more of like a collectible than like an actual. Plus, the Nintendo audience is a different amount of sheep. So, but we won't get into that.
Well, Disney could have gone the route, and they could have done trading cards or something, because they've incorporated that with various degrees in the parks, playing with those, using those as
Yes. I have a full binder of them.
I only have like a handful of them, but those are awesome.
You see, when the last time I went to Disney World, I went with 80 children. And I told them, like, when we got off the bus at Magic Kingdom, I was like, hey, so when you get in there, you can go to this building right inside the gate and, like, sign up for, like, this park game where they're going to give you, like, a pack of cards and you can go around and do the silliness. You all aren't going to have time to do that. You don't want to do that, like, it's lame. Go get the pack, give it to Mr. Aldridge, and have a wonderful day. And they did. So I went to one of the stores and bought like the big like collector binder thingy. And my evening like on the bus that night was like going through and like putting the cards like in like numerical order, to see like what I was missing and stuff. It's terrific.
That's definitely one of the like one of those weird like oddly satisfying things, sliding a card into those little like plastic slots. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like like doing that with like football cards or Pokemon cards or Magic cards, just like sliding them in there and then having like a full sheet of like 12, like 9 or 12 or whatever, and just like, wow, this is. You feel so important.
It's terrific.
Like you built like a tome, like you're.
I still have all my cards. Another Disney thing that actually did use cards, and that was short-lived, because Disney also, not only did they have their console games and everything, they also had their online multiplayer games, and that were also all shut down. And one of their biggest ones that I was really into is VMK, Virtual Magic Kingdom. It was really only supposed to be a short-lived thing for their Disneyland's 50th anniversary. And so they lasted a couple of years, so actually they incorporated it in the parks as well, where you got to fill out little like questionnaires going around the park, and you got little cards, and then you got those in-game items. Like you got codes on them for in-game items in the game.
Oh, that's
so you got
cool.
like a fancy chair or something, or Mickey ears and whatnot. Yeah.
So what you do? You would just like in the game? Would you just run around the actual like just the Disneyland, but like as a virtual character. It's just like PlayStation Home, but just a Disney park.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. There would be like little mini games you could play, like different types of beat games with like fireworks, or I think there was like a Pirates of the Caribbean game. There's also like little chat rooms because you could have your own like party room. You could decorate it with various different Disney items, and then you could also wear, your different colored Mickey ears or hat, and also having like mini pins. Because sometimes you could also have like random abilities because it was like Disney games, so you could maybe I don't know if you could really turn invisible or something, or have a little magic happen. Yeah, it's just for Disney nerds to have a community.
Disney shenanigans.
Yes.
That's what they should have called it. Disney shenanigans. Yeah, I know about like more of the Disney console stuff, but yeah, the trading cards, like I've never been to a Disney park, so I don't know anything about any of that stuff. I never played Disney Magical Kingdom, The Sims, so
but better in a different way.
Yeah, so
yeah, because that was
was Epic Mickey part of that studio as well, or was that? Because I want to say that there was like a pretty prominent developer that made Epic Mickey.
I think so too, because it was like a big game. It's like,
yeah, I mean, there's like a 3D platform.
I loved that game. Yeah,
because there's two of them, weren't there?
Yes.
Yeah, because the second one had like
it
co-op.
was published by Disney Interactive Studios, but the developer,
I want to say the
Junction Point Studios. That's what it says. Part of Disney. Yeah, which they no longer exist.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is just sad. I mean, Epic Mickey, the art in that game was amazing. There were really cool elements, and like, I mean, Disney, you have great ideas for games. Just stick with them.
I think the problem is they have like the concepts there, and they just don't have the development branch to actually like make it like functional. You know what I mean? Like, they need to get like a seasoned talent, like a Rare or something like that. Not actually them, but someone like that to make these games so they actually work. Like Toys for Bob or something like that to make like these platformers for Disney.
Mm-hmm. So there actually is a new Disney game coming out. I saw some talk about it on Twitter. It's made by Gameloft.
Oh,
and
God.
I think it's gonna be a free game. It's called Disney Speedstorm. So it's basically a racing game.
Oh,
where you get to play as all different characters. So nothing quite as cool, but
Gameloft also was like an early like mobile developer. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I saw the Disney like Mario Kart thing or whatever. So
yeah.
But it was like Pixar character, like, or it was like Disney characters and Pixar character, little kart racer or whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I feel like they're like 10 years too late to make a kart racer, but whatever. Mm-hmm. Now everyone's making these multi-universe fighters, these Smash clones. Give me a Disney Smash clone. There you go.
No, well, if they're behind the times with the racer, maybe we'll have a battle royale game. Oh, and then we'll get to that.
Yes. I want to be Goofy with like a sniper rifle just like hiding out somewhere. There we go. That's the idea. That's the winning idea. Give me Disney Battle Royale. Speaking
of, if you know the game Dissidia Final Fantasy,
yeah.
That game was actually supposed to be a Disney, like a Kingdom Hearts fighting game. But Disney said absolutely not, because they don't want their characters beating the crap out of each other. Like, we can deal with Kingdom Hearts, but not like just straight 1-on-1 or four versus just beating the snot out of each other. Yeah. So they said, okay, we'll just do Final Fantasy. And they were like, yeah, you'd probably better just do that.
Yeah. Now get out of my office.
Yeah.
Make your own thing. Yeah.
And they did, and it was beautiful. It's a beautiful game. And then they ruined it, as like with everything else. So
it's pretty typical for Final Fantasy.
So sad.
Well, it's just the NT, like the current gen one, is just...
Yeah, I've never...
It was a 1 versus 1 game, and then they're like, no, we'll do 3-on-3. That sounds great. Oh, you like the stories? No, we're going to take the story out of it. You can just fight online. Like, what the
they basically
hell?
they're like, hey, let's try and get this in Evo.
Yes, that is absolutely what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens because everyone's like, "Oh, Marvel vs. Capcom is killing it. Let's try and do that." Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Ethan, I think we're on you now.
Yeah. All right. So I don't have. I mean, I'm sure if I thought about it for a lot longer, I can think of more games. I don't have any TV shows, honestly. You guys know, and I'm sure the listeners know by now, I don't really watch TV very often because for this reason that I just don't trust it. so I just don't like getting, or I'm not an early adopter, let's say. I'll wait for it to do its full run and be like, all right, okay, cool, I'll check this out then. You can't lead me on and then just cut me off, as happens a lot with TV. So I do have a movie though that I want to say was supposed to have a sequel and then it kind of just went dark, but that is The Adventures of Tintin. So when that film first came out, it was directed by Steven Spielberg and it was produced by Peter Jackson. All right, and it's based off a French comic strip that's like super, very popular in Europe. In fact, the film did actually really well in Europe from a financial standpoint. It just didn't really do anything in the States because Americans don't know who the fuck Tintin is. But anyways, the plan was that Spielberg was going to direct, Jackson was going to produce, and then for the sequel they were going to flip, where Spielberg was going to produce and Jackson was going to direct. And they already had a title. It was something unicorn or some shit, I don't know. And then I haven't heard anything since, and that was like 5 years ago or whatever. And Spielberg's already done like 4 films since then, and Peter Jackson's just making Beatles documentaries. So I don't know. I don't know what happened to that. So I don't know if it's just like the studio just wasn't interested, or they didn't want to put a lot of money into it with it being animation, because that shit is expensive and takes a long time, and it's also motion capture and yada 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 yada. But anyways, I love that film. It's a great adventure film. It's like Indiana Jones vibes, but with like a kid instead of like a grizzled, Harrison Ford. So, but it's charming, it's goofy, it's exciting, the animation was brilliant. It had really good music. Like the whole thing is just like a really fun little action adventure film. I thought it would be a cool series, just to, because there's not like an overarching plot. Like each thing has its own one-off story. It's not like the first film ended on a cliffhanger and we'll never get it resolved. It's just it'd just be a new adventure every time. But yeah, so I don't know what happened to that, but I would love for them to just to get back on it and make it, because that would be I would appreciate that. It'd be really cool. I think that's and I know motion capture isn't as popular as it was, because that was also in a time when Zemeckis was doing all of his films were like motion capture. His studio Image Movers was making all those motion capture films like Beowulf, Christmas Carol, and Mars Needs Moms, Polar Express. And like the thing you always heard about every one of those is they're not making enough money to make up for like production costs, because it's so fucking expensive to like not only do motion capture. Basically, you're filming the movie on a set and then you have to animate it later. So it's like you're doing a film twice, basically. So, and that studio shut down, Image Movers. So maybe that's just not like a big market for that stuff anymore, but I don't know. It kind of sucks, because that was a really cool film, and I would love to see more of that. And I know people are like, oh, just read the comic strip or whatever if you want more Tintin. It's like, that's not, I don't fucking care about the comic. I just want to watch the film.
You want the movies.
Yeah, I want the movies. It's so, the first one, if you haven't seen it, it is so Spielberg, it's ridiculous. Like, it has like every Spielberg trope you can think of. Like, it might as well just be like an animated, like Indiana Jones. So, but yeah, give me some more Tintin. That'd be awesome.
Maybe someday. Get somebody
Wade?
to write that check.
Sure, right? Wade, what about you? You got any more? You got any more deep cuts? I know we've all done 3, which is like the huge. But does anybody else have a juicy one they want to throw out before the end?
I don't know. I don't know what to choose. I still have so much on my list.
The juiciest.
That I could talk about.
What's the juiciest?
That's
yeah.
the thing. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know.
What's the most like well known?
You want to do TV show or video game?
Let's do TV. We've only done one show.
Okay. Okay. So I put Heroes down. Heroes. Although it did get a reboot, and that reboot was not something we talk about. I think a third time. would hopefully be better.
Yeah.
I loved the first series. And I didn't watch the second series because I heard it wasn't very good. Like, just overwhelmingly, like, don't even waste your time on it. Maybe it was good. I don't know. That's what everybody told me as it was like airing, and I was like, okay. But it's such a cool concept. I love the characters and how like their powers like advance and stuff. Like, it's such a good, just everything. I loved it so much. And you can't watch it anywhere. It's not streaming on anything. You can watch the reboot.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say Heroes was that it was one of the like cable. Wasn't that a cable show?
I think so.
Like a CBS or an NBC or something like that. Wasn't it one of those?
Yeah, like you can go buy it on DVD, but like who wants to do that?
Yeah. I mean, now every one of
you can stream it on Peacock.
I was gonna say now every one of those has like their own like plus streaming whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
I have never seen anything on Peacock. Like, I don't have it.
no one has Peacock. That's why it came out that they lost billions last year. So
I had Peacock because it came with my internet. I don't really ever watch.
Oh well, yeah, that's different. You're not
like I understand that I understand that Peacock has a lot of stuff, but like I don't.
Not really.
I don't do that. Like Charmed, like the Charmed show, it left Netflix and it went to Peacock because I don't know why, but ew.
NBC once saw everything, I guess. For theirs.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, because Charmed was TNT, and I think TNT is.
Okay.
I don't know. There's so many of these guys all like live in the same. You know, they're all part of the same pie. So when you start like slicing it up into streaming services, like everything gets fucked. Because like I remember all the Harry Potter films, like when HBO Max launched, all the Potter films were on there, and they're like, "Oh wait, hey, we got to pull this off for a little bit because we still have a contract with Universal. So this is all going to Peacock for like 6 months, and then it's gonna come back to HBO. So sorry guys." So yeah, that's the problem with all this piecemeal streaming bullshit.
Well, it looks like it might be on Amazon Prime, but Amazon Prime is too rich for my blood.
Yeah, we got rid of our Amazon Prime last year, and it's going up again. So.
Oh, is it really? Dude,
Yeah,
would you all buy it like the yearly?
Yeah.
Like the $100 yearly subscription.
Yeah, that's what we used to do. Like it's like $99, but now it's gonna be like $140 or some shit.
Yeah, it's like whoa, okay.
Yeah, so
like Netflix is going up by like $2, I think.
Yeah,
but like that's a jump. That's whoa.
There's literally nothing on Prime in terms of their video that I give a shit about to spend $150. And I don't care if my stuff doesn't get shipped in 2 days. Like, I'll wait the extra day. It's fine. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me.
I feel like Prime should really have, like, an educator discount. Like, because, you know, teacher discounts exist in different places, but, like, the fact that it has a student one.
Yeah.
But there isn't, like, a teacher one, and I feel like that's jankety because we buy stuff off of Prime. And, like, schools buy a shit stuff off of Amazon all the time, like, in bulk.
Yeah.
So you'd think there would be, but oh well. Jeff Bezos is gonna Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. Yeah, fuck Jeff Bezos.
Well, do you guys have any other things you?
Well, while we're talking about Amazon, hold on.
Yeah,
While we're
okay.
talking about Amazon. So they're
It's related. Okay.
It's kind of. They're rumored. So the Tolkien estate is like selling off all the Lord of the Rings IP,
Yeah.
and like Jeff Bezos is like a well-known like Tolkien nerd, like a huge.
Oh God.
So it's rumored that Amazon's gonna like buy, like when it goes to auction, they're just gonna buy up the entire like IP basically, which also is gaming. So, and Amazon sucks at gaming, so so yeah, a dark future for Lord of the Rings fans is on the horizon if Jeff Bezos gets his way. Fucking Jeff Bezos. Anyways, on that note, Chelsea, take us out.
Are you sure you don't want to end on a more positive note? There's nothing else that.
That's as positive as I can be. Fuck Jeff Bezos. Thanks for listening.
Well, listeners,
Please don't
thank
sue
you.
us, Jeff
Yes,
Bezos.
thank you for listening to this episode, and you guys should let us know, positive things that you would like to see as a reboot, remake, sequel, anything like that. That'd be really cool to hear from you guys and see if you also agree with anything that we said or that you think we missed out on. You can let us know on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at poddemastered. You can also send us an email at demasteredpodcast@gmail.com. And just make sure to like and subscribe to this podcast and share it with a friend. And, thanks again for listening, and we hope you tune in next week.
Thanks, guys.
Peace out.
Bye.